Hi everyone, it's Library Linda, and I'd like to welcome you to this week's edition of Did You Know? Did you know? On June 13th of 1920, the United States Postal Service enacted a new rule that children were no longer allowed to be sent by Parcel Post. In January of 1913, the United States Postal Service announced that they would be shipping by weight and called it Parcel Post. I found 6 instances in the 7-year period where a baby from 10 3/4 pounds to a child 48 1/2 pounds were sent by Parcel Post. But in 1920, the United States Postal Service recategorized children in the same category as dangerous animals, as they could not safely be shipped without food or water. Did you know? On June 13th of 1942, shortly after midnight, 4 men landed on a beach near Amagansett, Long Island, New York, from a German submarine with Nazi uniforms and explosives. The FBI recovered the explosives that were to be used to strike a major blow by the Germans on our home soil. 4 days later, another group landed on Point Verde Beach near Jacksonville, Florida. These explosives were also recovered by the FBI. By June 27th, all 8 were arrested, tried, and found guilty. Their plan was to take these explosives and attack railways, factories, waterways, and bridges. Did you know? On June 14th of 1775, the U.S. Army was founded by the Second Continental Congress. The purpose of the Continental Army was to provide a common defense for all of the colonies, and George Washington was selected as the commander-in-chief. And 2 years later, the Continental Congress approved the design for the nation's first flag, and the first Flag Day was observed in Philadelphia in 1893. Did you know? On June 15th of 1844, Charles Goodyear received a patent for the vulcanization of rubber. This is a process used to harden rubber with sulfur. And the word vulcanization was derived from the Roman god Vulcan, the god of fire and forge. Before the vulcanization process was used to make tires, rubber was mainly used for waterproofing. Did you know? On June 16th of 1963, Valentina Tereshkova became the very first woman in space. Valentina was a Russian engineer and cosmonaut, and she completed 48 trips around the world in Vostok 6 before returning safely to Earth. She spent 3 days in orbit and is the only woman to fly a solo mission into space. And did you know it took the United States another 20 years before they had their first female astronaut, Sally Ride? Did you know? On June 16th of 1884, the very first roller coaster opened in the United States on Coney Island in Brooklyn, New York. It was known as the Switchback Railway, and it was 50 feet high and traveled a whopping 6 miles per hour and cost 5 cents to ride. This created a sensation that all amusement parks had to have a roller coaster. Did you know? On June 17th of 1885, the dismantled Statue of Liberty arrived in New York Harbor. She was designed by the French sculptor Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi and modeled after his mother, and he had help with the construction from the engineer Gustave Eiffel. After arriving in New York Harbor, the statue, dubbed Liberty Enlightening the World, had to be reassembled. The 350 pieces weighed 450,000 pounds. Her original color was a copper color, and she went through a natural color change process with a patina that is now a greenish blue. The words on the base of the statue were by an American poet named Emma Lazarus, and this is what it said: "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, your homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door." Did you know? On June 19th of 1978, Garfield the Lazy Cat made his debut. Created by Jim Davis, he appeared in 41 newspapers, and he currently holds the Guinness Book of World Records for the most widely syndicated comic strip. I hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Did You Know? And I hope to see you again next week. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.